You're lucky I even let you sit here," my mother-in-law whispered across the table, fake smiling as the rest of the guests laughed at her little joke. But it wasn't a joke. Not to her. And the worst part. My husband laughed too, like humiliating me in front of 30 people was somehow funny. If you've ever felt like an outsider in your own life, subscribe, like and share, because what happened next will make you feel seen and satisfied. I didn't say anything back. I just smiled politely, even as my ears burned and my heart twisted. It was my birthday. The one day that was supposed to be about me. But there I was, sitting at a table where everyone knew I wasn't truly welcome. They had never hidden it. From the day I married into their family, they made sure I knew I wasn't one of them. She should be grateful, my Mill said louder, this time raising her glass. After all, not every girl gets to marry a man way out of her league. She smirked, waiting for laughter. It came. Even from him. I looked at him, hoping, begging for a reaction. But he didn't even meet my eyes. Just kept sipping wine and grinning like the show was great. Like I wasn't breaking inside. They didn't know the truth. They didn't know everything they owned, every piece of comfort they enjoyed, every car they drove, every luxury bag she flaunted was because of me. I never told them. I let them believe I was some quiet, lucky girl who stumbled into their perfect son's life. I let them believe I came from nothing. That I had no backbone. That I needed them. But what they didn't know is that I built an entire multi-million-dollar online business from my bedroom before I ever met him. I paid off his debts. I covered the down payment on his mother's house. And I signed those checks with my own name. And that day, that birthday dinner they threw just to mock me, it was the beginning of the end. Because I left. Quietly, no drama. No tears, but when I walked out of that restaurant, I didn't just walk away from the table. I walked away with the keys to everything they thought was theirs. When I got home, I didn't cry. Not this time. I opened my laptop, logged into the accounts they didn't even know existed, and started pulling strings. I didn't scream. I didn't call anyone. I just started the quiet destruction of everything they ever took for granted. The car outside, registered in my name. The luxury house they lived in, bought under my LLC for tax purposes, a lie they never questioned. The joint account my husband used to fund his business trips. I drained it in minutes. All legal, all mine. The next morning, I woke up to 16 missed calls and 28 messages, first from my husband, then his mother, then their lawyer. But I didn't reply. Instead, I sent a polite email. Please vacate the property by Friday. I'll be sending movers. That afternoon, my Mill showed up at my office unannounced, screaming like a banshee in front of my staff. "You ungrateful little girl. How dare you do this to your husband?" She spat, her voice shaking with fury. I didn't stand up. I didn't flinch. I simply turned my monitor around and showed her the transfer records, the ones where I cleared her credit card debt, covered her medical bills, funded her spa weekends. And then I said it, calm and clear. "You should have been grateful." I even sat at that table. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. Before she could speak again, my assistant opened the door. "Ms. Aurela, your 2 p.m. investor call is ready." That's when she realized. I wasn't the girl who needed them. I was the reason they were even standing tall. I stood up slowly, walked past her, and whispered, "You laughed on my birthday. Let's see who's laughing now." The day they were forced to move out, I didn't show up. I watched through the security app on my phone as movers packed their designer furniture, her imported chandeliers, and even the ridiculous marble elephant she loved bragging about. All of it paid for with my money was going into storage. My storage, my husband, he didn't call, he begged. "Please, Aurela, let's talk. We can fix this." "You're overreacting," he texted. Overreacting. After years of letting them walk over me, after sitting through countless dinners where his mother insulted my clothes, my background, even the way I breathed while he sat there, smiling and silent. That wasn't love. That was convenience. But the final blow wasn't just what I took from them, it was what I gave to someone else. 2 days later, I hosted a dinner. In the same restaurant where they mocked me. Same private room. Same chairs. But this time, the people at the table were different. My team, the ones who built my empire beside me. I raised a glass. To the ones who never laughed at my silence, but waited for my success. And just when I thought the night couldn't get better, he walked in. My husband, looking tired, defeated, desperate. He marched to the table like he had something to say. But before he could open his mouth, I stood up, calm and composed. "There's nothing left here for you," I said. "Not the house. Not the car. Not me." "You're making a mistake, Aurela," he said, eyes wide. I walked closer, leaned in, and said with a smile, "No. The mistake was letting you laugh at me for so long." The very next morning, his lawyer called mine. They thought they had leverage. They thought marriage gave him rights to my empire. But what they didn't know, what he never bothered to ask, was that we signed a prenup, a solid one. Ironclad, written by my legal team. Because even back then, some small part of me knew. Love with people like him comes with conditions. His lawyer's voice was stiff. "Your husband is willing to negotiate. Perhaps, if you drop the house," my lawyer cut him off. "She's not negotiating. She's reclaiming what's already hers." Meanwhile, his family was in complete chaos. My mother-in-law moved in with her sister, who leaked the whole scandal to a family group chat. Her friends stopped returning her calls. Her little gossip circle now gossiped about her, how she mocked the very woman who funded her entire lifestyle. The humiliation was public. Online, someone from my old neighborhood posted about me. "Remember Aurela, the quiet girl? She just bought out an entire block downtown." Legend, it went viral. Suddenly, I wasn't invisible anymore. I was the woman who flipped the script. Brands started reaching out. My story became a feature article on 2 major platforms, and offers poured in from podcasts, from business panels, from women-led communities who saw in me a version of themselves. And yet, I stayed silent, publicly, until 1 week later, I posted a photo, me standing in front of the house I had reclaimed, alone, powerful, smiling. The caption: "They laughed, I built. They mocked, I owned. They talked, I signed." That photo broke the internet. And he messaged me that night. Just 3 words. "I miss you," I replied with 2. Too late. That message, too late, should have been the end. But of course, for people like him, endings are just new attempts at control. 3 days later, I walked into my office and found flowers on my desk. A massive bouquet. No note, no name. Just an envelope with one thing inside, a key. My heart dropped. I knew what it was. The key to the lake house. The one getaway spot we used to visit. The only place that ever felt peaceful. It wasn't just a house, it was a memory. One he knew still meant something. But memories don't buy forgiveness. Still, something gnawed at me. Why now? Why the lake house? I waited until the weekend. Drove up just to see. Part of me thought he might be there, waiting with one of his "I made a mistake" speeches. But the house was empty. Quiet. Almost too quiet. Until I stepped inside, and saw the box. Right in the center of the living room. Labeled, "For Aurela," inside, old photos. Me and him, smiling, young, full of dreams. But under those, another envelope. My fingers trembled as I opened it. It was a signed confession. From him, he admitted everything. How he used my money. How he let his mother manipulate me. How he kept secrets about his other investments. Ones I never knew existed. Shady ones. But the worst part. He forged my signature on 2 business contracts, ones that could have legally dragged my name down with his if they ever went south. I froze. For a second, it felt like the air had left the room. He wasn't just careless, he was dangerous. And now he was trying to confess like that made it all better. No, this wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. This was about war. I walked out of the lake house without touching anything else. No more guilt. No more second thoughts. Just one thing on my mind, now, just us. The next morning, I sent the confession letter straight to my legal team. Within hours, they dug up more than I expected: offshore accounts, fake names, backdoor deals. Turns out, the man who laughed at me at my own birthday dinner wasn't just spineless, he was criminal. I pressed charges. Quietly, formally, no threats, no warnings. I wanted the law to speak for me now. Days later, he was served at his office, in front of everyone. My once arrogant husband, who used to walk like the world owed him something, now stood frozen in his fake leather chair, reading papers that spelled his downfall line by line. And his mother, oh, she didn't take it well. She showed up at my office again, crying this time. "Please don't do this to my son. He made a mistake. We all did." I stood there, staring at her makeup running down her cheeks like melted lies, and asked calmly, "Do you remember what you said to me on my birthday?" She stayed silent. I smiled. "Be grateful to sit here. Isn't that what you said? She nodded slowly, ashamed. I turned and walked toward the door, then stopped and said it loud enough for everyone in the lobby to hear. I don't need a seat at your table. I built my own. And trust me's bigger. The court ruled in my favor. He lost the company he tried to steal credit for. His accounts were frozen. His reputation shattered. All the fake success he wrapped around himself unraveled in weeks. And me. I expanded my brand into 3 new countries. Launched a podcast called Silence Built Me that became #1 in 2 weeks. And most importantly, I finally lived without shrinking myself for anyone. People didn't laugh at me anymore. They listened. And every single time someone asked, "How did you do it?" I answered with one sentence. They thought breaking me would bury me, but they didn't know I was the seed.